Hello everyone and welcome to this video where we're going to be building a new mining rig. Now, as you can see here, this is a setup that is currently not released, and I have a few of them that I'm going to show you first before we dig in to the brunt of this video. Now, this comes because of course I'm so overwhelmed and scatterbrained. I have so many different ideas and concepts and all kinds of stuff in mind, but not just that. There was a request to specifically get a mining vehicle on top of mountains or somewhere where it's otherwise difficult or inaccessible to get to. Apparently there's some minerals that are in hard to reach places, so something a bit more compact, a bit more easy to use would be beneficial in that instant. So as you can see here, we have a trailer rig, and this was actually built by Sheppy. He is the admin, or one of the admins on my Discord server. So this was built by Sheppy, and you can see it has a fantastic simple mechanism that relies on the rig coming down with a drill here, and then it feeds off of the power from vehicle source or from its own internal batteries. It has a lot of batteries, but you do see even in that instant the vehicle is sort of charging it up or being used to charge it up. Now I do have to take a look at my generator mode because I could see the batteries still draining even though this is off. Oh, there we go. The drill was on. The drill is off, the drill is up, and you can see now the system is charging up very slowly. So the car alternator hasn't really kicked into high gear, but that's okay. So this is good for kind of mobile drilling, small amounts of drilling, and then of course what you can do is disconnect it, deploy the leg, and you can back your truck up and use this funnel to deposit it. So the nice thing with this vehicle in particular is it has a hopper in the back, so I would say between these two you have a pretty rugged kind of off-road setup. So while yes, there are, you know, bigger ones or things that are a bit more like will get you more minerals, because you can see this is quite small and slow, the idea is that it is a compact system, so you can kind of get it in strange places. So you can see that this is filling up. We've got 33 now, and in theory now we could continue drilling. Then I have this system which actually is released, both of these vehicles. This is kind of the engineer survey truck. It has a bed in the back, and then this is the survey exploration trailer. So the idea behind the exploration trailer is just that. So first of all, you kind of open up your stairs, and I know I showed this in previous videos, but if you haven't been following along, you kind of have the ability to, in essence, turn on your drill, and you can drop it down, turn it on, and kind of collect the minerals. Now it does work very slowly, and I think we're not even in position right now. So it's kind of the same type of instant where you may have to, you're not going to be collecting lots and lots of minerals at once. You're sort of using this for small batches, but you could see it works quite well. Now it is draining its battery. There is a generator that does kind of slow the battery drain a little bit. Now there's not a large hopper. You can see there's 54 mineral slots, and then you can deposit a sample here. Kind of the idea is a bit of gameplay fun, more so than actually collecting a ton of material, but it does work, as you can see, and it works quite well. Then we have this beauty. This is probably one of my most popular mining or alta creations, and what's amazing with this one is that it comes with its own kind of mining rig in the back. And again, this one, all these kind of mining vehicles were actually done in collaboration with Sheppy 5. So you can see we can deposit the drill, put the drill down, And there we are, starting to collect. So this one can actually fit a lot of minerals in the back. So this is a great system, and actually the request was to make this a tracked vehicle. So while I can't see this buckle convoy becoming a tracked vehicle, I very well might build a new mining vehicle that sort of is something along the lines of a tracked vehicle slash truck thing. So make sure to drop a comment and let me know if that is something you would be interested in seeing. I know there are a lot of great vehicles on the workshop for mining, and while I like the truck platform, I do think something larger and better at traveling over rough, uneven terrain, while also still being kind of this configuration, would actually be fantastic. And of course, my newest mining vehicle, a collaboration that was done with Zynoa, one of my Discord server moderators. You could see this massive rat front loader with a mining attachment. So this thing is super versatile, you could use it in all kinds of applications, but this specific attachment does allow you to mine. And I did make some really nice quality of life changes, including a display here that actually tells you the number of minerals you have, and it shows you whether you're drilling or whether you're dumping, and sort of gives you an overall view of how much of the hopper in here you have filled up. So this vehicle is the largest mining vehicle I currently have, which brings us to what is our smallest. So the specific request had asked me to put more of these anchors on top of my existing equipment so you could airlift in a truck. So I complied. I did put a nice couple of anchors on the top of this thing, but I truly think that, first of all, not only is it quite heavy at nearly 4,000, it still could be airlifted, but the problem is once you've airlifted it, what do you do with it in an inaccessible location? And then I thought, how can I miniaturize this idea? Well, no better way than with my system of Unicon containers. So if we just take one of these, and I'm not quite sure if it's going to have to be an XL version. Let's see the drill size. We very well might be able to get away with a smaller one. So I'm going to try with this first, and if it doesn't work, then we will take the XL platform. But the idea that I'm having is we take a Unicon container, dull it down or make it smaller until it actually fits a mining rig. So we're going to have to change some of this up. We're going to have to pull even all this stuff out for now, and we're gonna have to put some of the pivots or sliders, the tracked sliders specifically. So if we do something like this, okay, so I think I've answered my own question. I do need to extend it, so it does have to be the larger of the versions, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna move it out by 2, or that means 1 on each side. Attach everything for now. And now with these pivots, we can go ahead and put a drill right in the middle, just like this. Now, we'll see how exactly I position it, but that doesn't matter. The point is, proof of concept, a very simple idea, but in essence, you have your drill attached to these sliders, or tracked sliders, that you can bring up and down. Now this thing won't have a power source. It's actually going to have to rely on the generator. But fear not, Zynoa had actually made this fantastic generator unit, and Zynoa, if you don't know, is one of my Discord moderators, great builder. And now if you have the 2 of these, and I know that I'm going to have to fix this because obviously the Unicon size, these have to be pushed in by 1, but the point is, what I'm talking about is the fact that we are going to get the 2 units airlifted or transported to the top of the mountain, wherever, and now you can drill. Now it doesn't make much sense for the drill to be dead center, and I did make some kind of adjustments on my platform here. You can see it looks better, and actually it's using the new Unicon style that actually does have a little display to tell you if you are you know, moving it or whatnot. But let's go to coal. I think coal is kind of the keyword to press. So if we put a hopper right there, you could see that now this system is enclosed. And then if I put a funnel duct, then we can actually deposit it out. And the nice thing is it still fits in a Unicon slot. I will deal with all that in a second, but the idea is that this is a fully self-sufficient system minus the actual generator or power part. Just fast forward a little bit, what I've done is I've taken a couple of microcontrollers that Sheppy5 made from this trailer. You can see the bunch of batteries it has. This one's not going to have the batteries, but instead what it's going to have is a plug-in to attach it to a generator. So everything is going to be powered by its own internal battery except for these guys. So if I turn this off, you can see, and this obviously won't be powered to any of this. So these two motors go to this electric node, and then everything else will go from its own internal batteries, which are right here. So this will go to power A, and then power B will power the buttons, and not that, but the light, the tracks, all that stuff. So here is the little unit. You could see we could open the mineral duct, which will actually fall on this side here. We can push this up and down, and we could activate the drill. But of course, without an external power source, this is 0. Just for testing purposes, if I turn on infinite electricity, it starts to spin. So you're going to have a vehicle or generator that is enough to keep the system powered. But for us, we're not playing with infinite electric, so I do want to make sure that it works properly. And I told you about these. That's a really nice, nifty system. So this is kind of the example where you have this, and now we could plug it into one of the charging ports. You can plug it into here. We can fire this thing up, and we can lower the drill and activate this, and you can see this is starting to move. Of course, this is feeding its electricity to us, but as it starts to power up, it actually is strong enough that it does keep this thing going. So this is a great generator by Zynoa. You could really see it's staying constant, charging up a little bit. Now if we need to charge it up fully, we could wait and kind of force it up much higher, and then this can be activated when there's a higher battery. But you could see that right now we have 100% battery going to these motors, so that's actually fantastic. What's important is to have lifting points on the top to be able to put it either airlifted or whatever, put on a boat. The bottom is fully Unicon, which is great, you can see. And we have the side connectors as well. So it is fully compatible with the Unicon system. Now there is the law of unintended consequences or whatever. So what I'm gonna do as well is make this unit compatible with the, or at least usable with that system that I'm developing for the Unicon. And you can see currently we have sort of a ladder, we can get to the top. There is this funnel duct and system, but I actually want the ability to collect minerals out of this. So while yes, a little unrealistic, we are trying to build something that is also functional in the Stormworks world. So by putting a vacuum like that, it does look funny, but you could actually tilt this whole hopper down into our system and then enable the vacuum. So you could see here, this is kind of how it will work. And this, I added a couple extra tracks. Like, it's not really important to go that high, so I may actually lower it down. But the reason I did want it to go this high is to give this funnel duct that much more of height. So if you do put something here and open this up, at least you have a little bit of height for whatever can be parked here. But in the case we're trying to do, we could lower this down, and it actually, kind of funny enough, tilts itself because of the position of the drill. And that tilt is exactly what we need to collect the minerals out with a truck, something like this. So you can see I can back up to this little hopper here, and when it's in position, I could keep to lifting this up, and you could see at some point I believe the vacuum will kind of enter into here, and if I turn on the vacuum, we're taking the materials. So there's nothing more to it than that. You kind of have a series of systems that work hand in hand together and allow you to not only mine but collect and then transport them. I did a little bit of color configuration, added some lights just so if you are drilling in the dark, you get a little bit of illumination, and you can still see the ideas all there with kind of the safety orange Alta colors. I'm probably going to clean it up a little bit more with the designs, but you could see that now this really does look like an industrial rig, and paired with this stuff, you really could use it for drilling in all kinds of locations. Now granted, it only fits 27 coal, so you will need a hopper system, but because we do have a bunch of Unicon things, there actually is a Unicon hopper. So if you get these 3 units out to wherever it is you are, you can probably mine a fair bit and then store it here in this hopper. So for example, what we would do is we would load up a helicopter like this with the first couple bays of these units. So the biggest one is the generator one. I'd probably start with that. And actually, you may notice this uniloader here is actually a little bit different than the other version. It's a tad smaller. I made the profile a little bit shallower or lower, so it can actually fit inside the helicopter on that last yellow slot. I'm just going to go ahead and disconnect this from this because I want to just pick up this one here. So you can see we will actually fit inside the helicopter in this case. So I'd be careful to not get caught on something. See how nice it fits inside? Okay, so that's one of them. Now it is a bit of a, not struggle, but you do have to kind of plan sequentially to load this. Of course, the helicopter has its own gantry crane and capabilities, but I always think it's easier to just load with the loader itself. So now we could try the next one. Now this is the heaviest one of all. Oh, I disconnected it. So this one, we'll see how it works. It should still pick up with this loader, but this loader can't fit in the helicopter, I think, when you have all of these units inside. So we're going to see how that works. So first, let's try to just get it inside. We'll handle one thing at a time. Oh, I'm a little stuck here. Of course, it seems that the actual, the cargo clicked into the sideways tracks. Now, because I'm not actually putting anything in that direction, like these are useful for sliding it and stuff, so I could go ahead and disconnect that, and then it'll actually allow me to drive up inside this. Now, this is just kind of Stormworks, understanding Stormworks. The game does have its little quirks, so you have to kind of be aware of them when you're playing. Obviously, phantom physics is one of them, and kind of the different things you'll encounter if you kind of touch different types of bodies together, different types of connectors and whatnot. So now I'm going to leave this one be, because I know that this one cannot fit on that yellow connector there if I put one in the orange slot there. But I do think that this one can. So let's give it a shot. Let's see if I could load everything up into the helicopter. If I can, that would actually be like a perfect setup for any type of, call it mining, exploration missions you'll want to do in a very kind of portable type of way. So first things first, I will have to turn on the button itself. Now once I kind of get here, alright, so the green bay, okay, boom, connected. Now let's turn on our bottom connector and let's turn on pink. See if we can attach ourselves. Let's see. No, we don't want pink, we want yellow. So not that one. Now I did move it up a little bit, so it may not be possible. Oh, see, there you go. That is kind of the unfortunate instance of what may happen. So really what happened there is that location is too far in, so I have to move this to that location at least. Then this might be able to fit, or extend the helicopter out by one block. That might also be a solution, while also moving this back. Of course, the whole idea of this helicopter and the ability to have this yellow slot here is to be able to load 3 Unicon containers and a small vehicle in this slot. So I definitely think it is worthwhile if we can make everything fit to do so. So that little dance there hopefully works. One other thing I guess I could or should do, it doesn't make sense to have any of these in this instant, because not only are we not loading from the side, this will only serve to kind of slow the containers down. Yes, it does fix them, which is nice. So there's kind of a double-edged knife, I suppose, because on one hand it fixes everything in place, but on the other hand you do actually end up kind of slowing the containers down. You can't slide them in unless you disable the system. I don't know. I'm gonna leave them, because as I just showed you, if you just turn off that one button, it won't get caught in this perpendicular direction, and then you could slide it. But what's nice is it actually allows you to store containers and things without using the Unicon H4 setup. So I can grab the tail end of the helicopter and move it out. I moved it 2 blocks because if I'm already going to make this sort of a powerhouse of carrying capacity and whatnot, I'd rather make it as functional as possible, and I think this goes hand in hand with that ability. Okay, so I was able to get the generator, the drill, the hopper, and the little sort of uniloader in here. Let's see if it all closes. Oh, well, I want to see from the outside, but it seemed to work. Okay, helicopter is weighted down. You can see the wheels are not very happy, but it should still be able to take off. Now, very cramped up here, but we got everything in. That's no problem for this thing. You can see we are hovering quite happily, and up we go. So now you could take all this stuff to whatever location, site, whatever it is that you want to drill and kind of mine for, and there you have it. So I want to thank you all for watching. I know that I'm kind of doing a scatterbrain style effect of choosing my creations, but that's the best system that works for me. I kind of just go and see what I'm feeling, ultimately that's the best. Otherwise, I will get overwhelmed. But regardless, seeing the comments, seeing the interaction, seeing what the community says really makes me happy. It really pushes me and encourages me, and that's not even considering the awesome supporters I have. They really do push me and make me kind of really want to kind of create the best both videos and creations for all of you. So I really appreciate their extra support, and I appreciate each and every one of you for watching, for participating, commenting, all that good stuff. Huge shout out to my Discord server admins and moderators, and huge shout out to the game developers. Until next time, happy Stormworksing, everyone.